What a season it is for cinema. The Fantastic Four First Steps, my second most anticipated movie of the year, is finally out. The Fantastic Four have had a rough history. They've been out of the spotlight for so long. I've been hyped for this movie since they announced it in 2019. And right off the bat, I will say, this movie is purely fantastic. Finally, the Fantastic Four have a movie that is actually fantastic. I'm never going to stop saying that. Now, originally, I wasn't sold on the idea of Matt Shakman directing this movie, but after hearing how much of a true fan he is, and after seeing his vision, he was the right filmmaker for this movie. First Steps was made with a true vision. There is so much time, care, and passion put into this movie. It is so distinct among not just comic book movies in the MCU, but it's just a very distinct movie. It's like a live-action Jetsons. This is full Jack Kirby. Matt Shakman wanted it to be like a Stanley Kubrick production in the 60s, and I think they accomplished that. This retro futuristic 1960s style suits the Fantastic Four so perfectly. It prioritizes practicality and it's just all around visually stunning. It also has a really nice tone. And of course, this movie is set in an alternate universe, which allows this movie to be completely self-contained and creative. Because of how self-contained it is, and because of how distinct it is, and also just from a quality standpoint, this movie feels like a movie from the early years of the MCU. And I really can't stress enough how madly this movie embraces the source material. It's insane. This is a family-centered sci-fi epic story. It's so relieving that they just skip the Fantastic Four's origin because we all know it, but they do such a great job of building out this world at the beginning. We see their whole history, their celebrity status, and they are immediately rooted in their scientific exploration roots. Because of the whole thing with the story, how Franklin Richards is on the way, I was a little bit confused about how the structure and timeline of the movie was going to go from the trailers, but it worked well. And honestly, I didn't mind the movie's swift pace. And it's definitely not an action-heavy movie either, which is a good thing. And of course, it was composed by Michael Giacchino, who is the perfect composer for this. The most relieving thing of all is that the F4 are finally done right. They finally feel like a true, believable family who just happen to be superheroes and scientists. And their powers are done on the scale that they are in the comics. And they are true heroes. They are all so self-sacrificial. Pedro Pascal is definitely not the best choice out there to play Mr. Fantastic, but the more I watched, the more I went, yeah, this is Reed. He did a good job, he really did. He's so intelligent and he knows it, and he's a leader. He has a lot of sympathy and he's dealing with a lot of guilt and stress over this situation and becoming a father. This is my new favorite role of Pedro's. Vanessa Kirby is the perfect choice for the Invisible Woman. She's the character that stands out the most in this movie because out of all of the four, she has been done the worst in the past. So she needed to be done the most justice, and she was. She's almost as much of a leader as Reed is. And her and Reed are a very believable married couple. Sue doesn't take any nonsense. And even though she's pregnant in the movie, she was not at all useless. She is so incredibly strong. And I'm glad that they didn't linger on the pregnancy too much, but it was absolutely consequential. The Human Torch is my favorite F4 character, and Joseph Quinn's portrayal of him was incredible. Yes, Johnny is the youngest. He's a hothead, he's capable, but he's also comic relief. But what was immediately noticeable about Joseph Quinn's portrayal is that this is a more mature Johnny. I was very impressed. And honestly, all of the humor in this movie really lands. Eben Moss Backrack was an exceptional thing. He looks very realistic, just like how Jack Kirby drew him. Ben is just put together, he gets it, and he's so lovable. And also, he and Johnny's love-hate relationship, their banter was just great. But they feel more brotherly in this than they have in past movies. Of course, they have gone with the alternate version of the Silver Surfer, Shala Bal. Now, it would have been better if they did Norrin Rad, but Shala Bal, they made her a more compelling character than I expected. And of course, everyone is so relieved that they have finally done Galactus right. He was absolutely 100% comic accurate. Every second he was on screen was mind-blowing, and they did such a great job in the trailers of holding back on showing him because it is so worth seeing. And Ralph Ineson's voice, oh. And I have to mention Herbie. Herbie is the Fantastic Four's R2-D2. The movie wouldn't have been the same without him. I really ended up loving the Fantastic Four First Steps more than I thought I would. These are some of the best characters that the MCU has had, and that's saying something. This is really what Marvel needed. I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm sure Stan Lee and Jack Kirby would have been proud. So, have you seen the Fantastic Four First Steps? What did you think of it? Who's your favourite Fantastic Four character? Let me know in the comments below, and may the Force be with you.